or good morning, wherever you're joining from. How's your day
Good
been?
evening, sir.
Hi, Femi. How are you doing today?
Fine, sir. I'm fine. Well done, sir.
All right, good. Namdi, how are you?
Good evening.
How are you doing today?
We're great.
All right, beautiful. So it's a very compact class, and that is fine. That means we should be able to run this in a very, very short while. And I also like to mention that most of what we'll be discussing here are things we are possibly, not possibly, things we're already familiar with. And so, what we'll be doing here is to emphasize on a couple of things and also to possibly recall a few others that you might have come along in the course of your work, in the course of your career, and possibly you have forgotten, and we just do a quick reminder on there. So I usually say any training session like this is an opportunity to learn, to relearn, and to unlearn. There may also be a few things that you are using or your skills or that processes that you are employing that might not be efficient, and we learn better methods and we unlearn those old ones. So that's what we'll be running around. Let me say those three pillars: learning a few things, unlearning a few ones, and relearning a few other ones. And at the end of it, I'm very certain that every one of us will leave here much better. It's also an opportunity for me to learn. Anytime I have an opportunity to facilitate, it's a learning session for me. So we are all co-learning. I will just most likely be leading the conversation. So what we'll be talking around this evening is situational leadership. I hope I am correct, Raphael.
Yes, sir, you are
Raf.
correct. You are correct.
Okay.
Institutional leadership.
So we'll be looking at situational leadership as a tool. It is a tool. It's also a leadership tool that we are using or that we will use in leading and ensuring that we drive results and accountability with our teams. So I will rightly assume that for the participants on this call this evening, you're already leading a team, and or you have led a team in the past, or you are preparing to lead a team. So whichever side of the divide you find yourself, the model for this evening is very, very relevant. Very relevant. So let me pause for a minute, just 1 minute quick introduction from my participants so that will help me to structure my thoughts and also to structure how the delivery will be going this evening. So if you do a quick introduction, I've seen your name, I've met you, your names are here. So just tell me briefly what you do. Are you leading a team? Maybe quickly the size of your team. And it will also be great to highlight what you want to take out of today's session. That would be a good foundation for us to build on. So let me start with Namdi. Quick 1 minute
Okay.
intro.
Good evening. The topic is a powerful topic. They say everything rises and falls at the position of leadership. So My name is Pharmacist Namdi Mosisi. I'm a pharmacist for over 18 years in marketing and sales. Worked in several pharmaceutical multinational companies. I'm presently with Greenlight Pharmaceutical as the brand development manager. And my takeaway, and what I hope to take away is, as you said, there are things which we want to learn, unlearn, and maybe relearn again. So my mind is prepared, and the latest trend now, every topic, every place we go is transformational leadership. Everywhere they ask you, are you a transformational leader? So trying to link it to this situational leadership. I hope at the end of the class, and I believe strongly we should be able to answer and even add more to that question.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for expanding the scope. So situational, even to the boundaries of transformational. What makes a leader transformational and all of that. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My name is Femi Yahaya.
All
I
right.
work at Autos Bridge Consulting Limited as a
Yeah.
business development manager,
All
where
right.
I sell a device called Smart Shop Mini POS and a software CRM that help businesses to manage their sales team in the field, while the device is to help businesses, the open market, to monitor their business remotely and grow better.
Okay.
I'm open to learn more about leadership. It actually is a very, very interesting topic for me to add more knowledge to what I've known before and to learn from the leader as well, which has been many years in the field, has been a mentor, trainer, which I've met several years ago too as well. So I'm open to learn more and build on the capacity of the facilitator to be able to excel in the future. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so thank you so much. Very exciting plan and very exciting place to be. Please confirm you can see the slide.
Yeah.
The slide up. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's run. I'm hoping, like I said, we'll be discussing. It's going to be a lot of discussion, and hopefully we will do this together and all leave this place much better than we came in. Right. So, situational leadership, as the name depicts, leadership by situation. Leadership by situation. What makes it different from? So, when we talk about leadership, or let me start off by also saying, when we talk leadership and when we talk management, between a manager and a leader, uh, what is the significant difference? If there is there a difference between a manager and a leader? If there is, what is the difference? I won't say which one is better, or because there's really nothing like that. Won't say which one. So when we talk leadership and managing, what is the difference? Please quickly. So let's make this interactive. Just what's the difference between a manager and a leader? Or are they the same?
All right, sir. This is for me.
Yeah,
From my
thank
own point of view, I think the difference between manager and leader, because there are
Okay.
some leaders that don't manage. They are just leader by name. They are leader by what they lead, but they don't manage. So why the manage part of it are people probably you manage finance, you manage people, but sometimes if you look at it, you can be a leader as well, manage. So manage people around you. Why some people they're a leader but they don't manage the finance part of it. So I think it's a
Okay.
two different things that are actually interwoven.
Okay.
So I believe that the management part of it is actually the bigger part. So you're a manager and you manage people as well. You lead people because they believe that you can be a leader and you don't know how to manage because you can misuse resources and you're a leader.
All right.
So
I like that.
yes,
I like those dimensions. So I like the fact that one thing came out from your definition of manager, that there are resources, there are people, there are, and when we talk resources all across range, it could be people, it could be finance, it could be materials, and of course the denominator for all of these other resources, time. So there's something to manage, there's something to measure, very important. But when we talk about leading, there may necessarily not be anything tangible. So, what differentiates leading from managing then? But I love your contribution. Thank you so much, Aya. Nabi, any other addition to what has been said?
Okay, well, my basic knowledge of manager role, I think when you look at functions of management, it defines what a manager is. And these are officers principally who are charged with the responsibility of staffing, budgeting, controlling, planning,
Yeah.
core functions of management. But for a leader is a visionary. Most times, he takes decisions which has to do with the overall goal of the company, and a leader is not limited as a manager. Managers are confined to their role definition, job description.
Right.
Leaders are the owners of the companies, those who have the original plan. And
All
actually,
right.
you can actually with knowledge and experience and promotion be transist from being a manager to being a leader.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for amplifying. You have tried to also amplify more on the leadership qualities or the leadership characteristics, sorry, not qualities. So, you talk about visionaire. So, leaders usually show vision. Leaders by the word leadership, they lead. So, leadership is not necessarily may not necessarily be a position. Yeah, sometimes we say you are appointed into a position of leadership as an hierarchy, either within an organization, a formal organization, even within the family sector or the family system. Uh, when somebody becomes an adult, when you take an adult position, when the person, we say, okay, the person has been elevated, you are now a leader in the family. You have had some experience, you have handled some responsibilities, you are now charged with leading. So it is not an office like a manager you are appointed or you are assigned a portfolio. So a manager of human resources in XYZ is a position. But when you look at leadership, leadership most times may not necessarily be an assigned or a defined position. It's the scope, again, like you also rightly mentioned, might not be constrained by a space. It may not be constrained by a particular position. It is much broader, but in terms of what it really is, the leader is showing direction. The leader is showing vision, is sharing the vision of where you want to go or what you want to achieve. And sometimes it's, if you also look at all the other resources, like we say, put together, the leader might not be allocated any particular resource. So you could be assigned a leader without a budget. If you're a manager, you have a budget. Okay, this is what you need to deliver. It's a sales function. This is the budget to deliver this revenue or this profit. If you're a finance manager, this is the profit we want to achieve. This is the margin we want to deliver at the end of the year. And you assign budget, you assigned other resources, people, and all of that. The leader cannot be assigned. However, in the course of leading, and I also love the fact that we also highlighted that the manager might misuse resources, and that's very critical. Resources are usually available to the manager, but what makes a difference between an effective and an efficient manager and the one that is poor is that leadership capability. So when the manager has all the needed resources that are assigned to that portfolio, to that office, the capacity to be able to use all of these resources effectively and deliver value to that organization, to that team, even to themselves, most in most instances lies between the leadership capability or the leadership skill of that manager. So most times they are interwoven, but they are very clear and distinct. They are very clear and distinct. A manager will do better, will manage better when they have leadership skills and leadership capacity and leadership capabilities. And that's why we are also looking at leadership here. And we're also now trying to situate it to say, without just broadly looking at leadership styles and all of that, how do we look at situational leadership and swing in between? So, having laid that foundation, let's just roll into it. From time to time, I will stop and we'll have some conversations as we go. All right. Prayer, housekeeping, and all of that. Let's just move because of time. So, leadership, again, we've defined it broadly, but how do we now look at leading by situations? Like I said, like the name just rightly say, how do you become effective when you understand situations, when you interpret situations rightly, when you apply the necessary capability and skills for a particular situation that makes a difference. That's what we'll be considering quickly this afternoon. So we've defined leaders in terms of quality, in terms of their attributes and all of that. Let's just move on. And when we talk about managing and leading, this is also one very critical thing that comes to mind. We talk about the position. I mentioned it earlier. The position power, the personal power. If Namdi is assigned the general manager in the business today, he will be given what we call the job descriptions, and within that job descriptions, there will clearly be what we call accountabilities in terms of what he needs to deliver in that position, in terms of the resources, the people that will help him deliver in that particular position, and all of that. And Namdi will also now use all of those resources to be able to say, okay, this is how I reward good performance, also this is how I correct or I punish poor performance. Very important. So leadership and managing, or let me use it the other way. Managing usually comes with all of this, the position power. You are assigned into a responsibility, and this comes with it. But like we have also said, leading most times is broad. It may not necessarily come with defined resources or tools or um, paraphernalias, right? But the individual, and that's why you now begin to talk about the charisma, the knowledge, the skills, the experiences, those things that you cannot really aggregate, those things that you cannot really measure, will now begin to also come with that position. So you now talk about the personal power of that person. How can this person muster people? How can they direct? How can they show vision? How can they lead? How can they, what's the word I'm looking for? How can they paint? Yes. How can they paint a vision that becomes very visible, that others can see and say, okay, I believe in this person and I will go with him. The other thing we also need to put at the back of mind is sometimes the reason why some managers don't really do well, we'll see this much later, but let me also just highlight it here, is by the time you begin to take management and higher management responsibility, what will help you to deliver more on that position will not be the technical skills or the technical capabilities that you have. In the course of my career and the work that I still do now, I have seen a lots, I have loads of examples of individuals who started very well, brilliantly. They understand their trade, they have very strong competence in that particular area, because we're looking at commercial space and sales space here. Sales executive, for instance, or a sales representative, they deliver their numbers, fantastic. You become a territory sales manager or territory sales supervisor or whatever, they're fantastic, they deliver. The day you now make them a manager and there's a switch between delivering those numbers by themselves and now using others to deliver those numbers or those results, that's where the challenge now comes in. Because this person has been used to doing, they have been hands-on, they have sharpened their skills, but they have not sharpened their capacity or their capability to now manage others, to now harness the skills of others to be able to deliver that value. So I have seen, like I mentioned, several persons who were the best engineer when I used to be in within the FMCG, in the manufacturing sector. I've seen loads. In fact, that's the area where I have a lot of examples. Fantastic technicians, and they grow on to become engineers, and they become the engineer of the year, they get awards and all of that. But the day you make that person a line manager to run a line where they will have to manage people, where they will not carry the spanner, carry the screwdrivers and all of that, that is where their challenges start. The same thing with sales. Same fantastic people who are done very well as managers of self. But when they now get to the space where they need to manage others, it becomes a challenge. So the power play is always there, that position power and that personal power. How do you harness both to be able to deliver value? We've defined this, and of course, you get all the slides, so you will have to read it. So we say situational leadership is not something you do to people, it is what you do with people. It is what you do with
I
them.
don't know if it is only me. Your slide is not moving. We are still in
Oh,
slide one. I don't know. Maybe it's only me.
okay. It's not moving from your end. Let me see. Let me try.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can see now. Yeah.
Okay. You can see it now.
Yes, sir.
Is it moving now?
Yes, sir, I can see now.
The power play, right?
Yes, sir.
Then what is situational leadership? Okay. Right. So various definitions, situational leadership theory. Again, I will always say you can go back and look at all of those theories and all of that, but in most instances, especially again for us as commercial people, as salespeople, and all of that, it's more around what really happens in real life. In real life, right? So we'll be looking at examples all across those specific areas and sharing with them. So the situational leadership in terms of theory runs on certain premise, right? And if you can see from what we have, I say it focuses on followers, the readiness level of the followers, and how does the leader now understand these readiness levels and move within the continuum of this readiness level. So what this means is, and why it is situational is, if you have 5 persons to manage as a sales manager, if those 5 persons got into the organization the same day, chances are after 1 month or 2 months, if you do an assessment of those 5 persons, you will find out that they are not sitting or they are not within the same space. Do I have a witness here? Has anybody had that kind of example before? Or whether at work or even you as an individual? So let me give an example of, again, like I said, from some of the work that I have done in the past. In the business that I used to be earlier, that I managed for so many years when I was human resources, we do what we call graduate trainee or management trainee program. So every year we bring in sometimes 30 to 50 people into the organization. And those 50 people, they go through tests, they have the same qualification, everybody from different disciplines, but they have the same class of degrees, maybe a 2-1, whatever. We bring them from different schools and all of that. We take them through the same 12 months of training, everybody the same training. And after 12 months, you do some assessment and you now put these people into different functions within the business. After 24 months or 36 months of deployment, you just begin to see clear, what I would call levels or layers. People begin to fall into different buckets and grades and all of that. So much so that by the time you are talking maybe in the next 5 years or 6 years, you will find out that maybe 10% or 20% of those people have moved on to become managers, another 15% or whatever, or let me say 40 to 50% are now assistant managers based on assessment, the same assessment based on appraisals, based on whatever. And you now also find out that a particular number are still on a particular level. So what has happened? These people has been, because of their individual capacity, capabilities, and all of that, they have fall into different brackets. Now, if you have to manage the entire of these people, you will need to understand their differences in terms of their readiness level, in terms of where they are, in terms of how they relate, in terms of what they can do, in terms of the skills that they can accomplish for you to be able to get the best out of them. If you use the same style to manage everybody, which we are going to see the different styles. For instance, you just delegate tasks to everybody and say, all of you have been here for 5 years. You just delegate tasks to them. Chances are, by the time you come back in 2 days or in 1 week, you will see a lot of surprises. So one of the fundamentals of situational leadership is the readiness level of the followers. The readiness level of the followers. And gentlemen, this can be for a 2-man, a 3-man, a 100-man, a 1,000,000-man team or group. You must understand the readiness level. Let me pause for instance. Even as a nation, I love what they mentioned was, they said how did you quote mention that quotation, that everything rises and falls at the is it at the lap, Abby, of the leader?
Everything falls at the point of leadership.
At the point of leadership, right? So it's the same thing. As a nation, we look at ourselves today, why is it that it is difficult to get some things? It is difficult to sway, it is difficult to create a vision, it is difficult to show direction, it is difficult to whatever. If we go back into it and really check it out. If I was looking at one video, I'm just connecting it to this conversation we are having. And the person is saying, we are not ready as a nation, Nigeria. We are not ready at all. The person was lamenting and saying some things and saying, just talking about the general economic situation. So at one point, we are saying this and this. Now this and this and this has happened. And the same we as people, as whatever, this is what we are doing. I said, we are not ready. So as a nation, as a team, as an organization, as individual, when you sit or when you attain that position or when you are assigned that position of leadership, the first thing you want to look at is, what is the readiness level of the people I want to lead? When you understand their readiness level and you now apply the leadership style that fits that readiness level, you will get results. And this is like I'm going to the conclusion of this class today with that definition. When you understand their readiness level and you look at what needs to be done, the task, you look at the resources, you look at the goal, you look at what needs to be achieved, and you now marry the readiness level to what you need to achieve, to what you need to attain, and you manage them at that level where they are, then you will get results. But when you don't pay attention to that readiness level, you don't really understand it, no matter how much resources, no matter how much time, no matter what is put at the beck and call of such a manager, the manager will struggle. So readiness level from high to low, from low to high, the amount of followers readiness and the amount of support that the supervisor needs to give them will always vary. It's either low, it's either high. And like I said, for individuals too, if you have 3 people within your team, 5 people within your team, you want to understand them individually and you are looking at how you are. There are chances that 2 or 3 people may be almost close to the same at the same spot, but you may find one sometimes that is not at the same level. If you manage all of them together using the same style, chances are you will lose that one person. And don't forget, the day you become a manager of others, your responsibility, you only win when you take everybody to the winning point, to the finishing line. All right, so let's move quickly. So leadership behaviors, you read all of this. The leader can either support, the leader can direct. All of the definitions are here. Not wasting time on that. Please go and read them. So you support, you know where the person is and you support. You know where the person is and you direct. This person understand what needs to just give direction or give whatever. So leadership styles can also fall across these different areas. That's why we say situational. So that you are directing, the leader provides specific instructions. The leader is coaching, continues to direct, but places close supervision to what the follower is doing. The leader supports, facilitates, and supports the associates towards the task accomplishment, and the leader delegates. And the leader delegates. Let me take a pause. At what point should the leader be directing? What kind of followers or what kind of team? If you look at this definition, the leader provides specific instructions, underline that, and closely supervises. At what level should the leader be using this style? Please talk to me. No answer is wrong.
All
So
right,
let's
sir.
have the
So,
conversation. Yeah.
though I didn't see the slide, I've not seen the slide. The slide that you changed since is what I'm still seeing. I don't know, maybe
Is
it's
it
my
the same
network.
with others?
Raphael, please, can you
Please,
see
can
the slide?
others see my slide?
Yeah, it's not changing. It's still on leader. Let's define leadership.
Mhm.
So maybe it's my own. Okay, but just go ahead.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
sir.
At
So,
what point should the leader be directing, be providing
okay.
specific instructions, and closely monitoring accomplishment?
Okay, so to my understanding, what I just see is that if probably the assignment is coming from the management level, pass to the manager that every individual under the manager should take that instruction very active. I think that instruction have to be passed through the line to the last person under that manager. Everybody here must be serious and take that responsibility very well. Everybody must concur to that instruction.
Okay. So when it is important and it is priority, if I use those words, am I correct?
Yes,
When
yes,
it's a
sir.
priority and it's also important.
Important,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Can you see my slide now? Any difference?
Ye- Yes, sir. I
You
think
can now
leadership
see the
style.
leadership styles. Okay. So
Yes.
directing. All right. Okay. Your contribution, Andy. When should the leader be directing from this definition?
That term directing means you must be very close to the specific assignment. And this stage is that's because you want to relate it to what the introduction when you talked about readiness. That you must look for.
All right.
When they are readiness level, you've seen it like, oh, they still need what they call hands-on, a handhold to guide them. At that time, directing that style of leadership is very, very should be implemented. You know, you don't just pass an assignment and leave them to their initiatives. They will go in different directions at tangents, and by the time you come back, you are not on target at all. So, level when you assess the readiness level of your team,
Yeah.
they need that hands-on leadership. Must be specific and mostly accompany them in order to get the set proposed goal.
Hello.
Hello, I think it is network. I think it is network.
Okay. I can hear anything, so that's why I say hello.
Hello. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I hope my network will cooperate this evening. It should not do this now. We're already enjoying this class. Okay. Wow. And I was just talking and talking and talking. Please, you can hear me, right? Can you
We
hear
can
me? Okay, fantastic. Right. So I just said, let's get these fundamentals and sink it in very well. Once you sink it in, every other thing will build on this. So I also mentioned the fact that sometimes I've mentioned earlier that your team will not always be on the same space. They will not be always on the same because things continue to change. Your organization will change, the market will change, So for instance, the market you will introduce new products within your market. The taste of your customers or their demands will continue to change. And based on all of those factors that continues to shift, you must always know where your associates, where your team are to make your leadership effective. So sometimes the team member or the associate is new on that particular task or is new on that particular position or is doing that particular task for the very first time. I give you an example. You have just introduced a new product into the market, and you find out that one of your associates who used to be very, very fantastic when it comes to delivery on target of your other products that you have is now struggling with this particular product. And this is somebody that you have worked with, you understand him, you have trained them, you have done everything possible, and you just feel, oh, this person at this level, I don't even need to follow him to trade. I don't need to do whatever. And you just delegate, just go and deliver and all of that. Because this person is on a new learning curve. So in addition to the fact that it is important at that point, like you highlighted, in addition to the fact that it is priority and all of that, but because this guy is on a new learning curve, he's selling a new product, or you have moved the person from key account, for instance, to go and manage modern trade, or you are moving from modern trade to go and manage retail, core retail in open markets and all of that. The skills and the competencies that are required to excel in that new position are different from what has made the person to excel earlier. So you may have to change your style to get the best out of this particular person. Does this make sense?
Yes.
All right. So that's why situational leadership is always roving, it's always checking, it is never static. You're always looking at what has changed, what is in the environment, what is moving, what is evolving, and you are adapting the best style that meets each of those particular situations. Very important. Same thing as coaching. The person has moved beyond the point where you need to give close supervision. You are now coaching. You are now giving the person that capacity to make some suggestions, and you only give suggestion when it is solicited. You are taking the person to the point where you are now giving the person some responsibility, and you now take the person to the point where the person knows what to do, and the person goes ahead to do it, and vice versa. And it is also possible, as we will see again, it is not a linear line. It is not that you must move from directing to coaching to supporting to delegating. Sometimes you can switch from directing to supporting. For some followers, you can switch straight from directing to delegating. Depends on how far or how long the learning curve for that particular situation or that particular instance in. As we'll find out later, if you don't make those switches, like I have repeatedly said at the beginning, you will not only waste resources at the end of the day, your effort as a leader will not show. You will not be an effective leader. as the case may be. All right, so let's just move on. We've talked about this. So I mentioned this earlier, and I said we'll come to this. If you look at this slide, please look at this slide closely and tell me, what can you identify or what can you see on this slide? What can you interpret? I've mentioned it earlier. We're looking at the competencies of a leader. So from this slide, there are so many things.
I think you need to change. It's still showing leadership styles. The slide is still
We are
showing
still
leadership styles.
leadership style.
Now, what today? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay.
Competence requirement of leaders.
Of the leaders. All right. So please look at this slide and tell me what you see. What can you make out of this slide? So we begin to move a little faster now. We have finished laying the foundation. Let's begin to lay the blocks. So what can you see from this? What can you define, or how can you explain this slide?
Well, can see the arrow, the green arrow pointing upwards. Starting out like yes, management, the top management.
Okay.
And then how the different colors, technical, social, and then concept.
Okay. So from it, what can you deduce? What does this mean? What does all of this mean?
But you should be able to gradually from being just technically competent to becoming socially or emotionally intelligent, and then finally at the top level you are more of a exceptional of strategy person of long-term plans and all those things. It's at the top. It's just like this Abraham Maslow's theory of motivation. You go from basic to the higher points. The top managements are expected to be at that top of the conceptual strategic. That's how I. That's what I see.
Good contribution. Thank you so much, Namdi. Femi, you want to add to that?
I think we are seeing the same thing. At the top manager level, you have to be strategic and conceptual. So at the senior manager, you have to be social to people around you. At the middle, you have to be there. I think it's the same thing we are seeing. Everything is
Okay.
there. So yes,
Okay. So if you look at that social, why is the social different from? Did you see the social is different from the two? From technical and conceptual. Is it different?
Sir, can you take that again? What do you say, sir?
If you look at the conceptual, you can still see the slide, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
We're still on that slide. So I said, if you look at technical, the shape of technical and the shape of conceptual, they look alike. One is facing up, the other one is facing down, right? One is a left angle, what do we call it? One is other right angle facing down. But the conceptual is different. The shape is different. Why is this, the social is different from technical and conceptual? Why is that different?
Or
Just try. Like I said, no answer is wrong.
okay. I think the social capture both the strategic and technical. So
Okay.
there is no how you are going to be either the top management, you have to be social, and there is
Okay.
no you are going to be in the middle management, you have to be social. So because there is no how you are going to manage people if you are not being social.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you for that definition. So as you have rightly both captured it. As you move from employee, like I mentioned earlier, what gives you the job when we are interviewing you for entry level roles? If I need a salesman today, the questions I will ask him is target, deliver these, how do you get to the customer, how do you handle objection, how do you tell the profit story? Those are the things I'm looking at. What is the difference? Have you managed key account before? I'm asking technical questions because at that level as employee, I need less of creativity. I need less of conceptual, less of strategic. What I need, and that's why the technical is broad. That's why it's at the base. As the person begins to move to middle manager, the technical begins to shrink. You can see that it is reducing in size, and the strategy begins to do what? Expand. By the time the person becomes a senior manager, I don't need technical skill. And that's why you get into an organization and they tell you the sales director of the organization is used to be a production manager, or he moved from HR to become sales director. Have we seen anything like that before? Yeah. Because at that level, I don't need the sales director to go to the field to go and make sales physically. What I need him is to harness the available resources within the organization and put strategic thinking into it and deliver value. However, like you have mentioned, across the value chain, whether as an employee, middle, or whatever, you need people skills. That's what the social is talking about. You need people skills. You work with people, you deal with people. So, as a leader, it is very essential to understand that as you move across the leadership grid, what is expected of you, even as a manager, is less of technical skill and more and more and more of conceptual skill. And like the example I gave earlier, the reason why a lot of fantastic technical people as employees, as managers of self, as supervisors, don't make that switch is because they still remain at that base. They still hold on strongly to their technical skills. They don't grow their leadership capability. And that's the reason why we are here. That as you move up, as you go up, you must demonstrate that capability of leading. And that is where it sits. Right? So we've defined leadership. We've talked about influence, we talk about the followers, we talk about situations, and all of that can also be stated in terms of a graphical representation. Is my slide moving?
No, sir.
No, it's not
Yes,
moving. It's moving.
not at all.
Okay.
It's not. We
All
are
right.
still in competency and requirements, sir. It's not moving.
Okay. So we'll do without the slide. I will just continue to just listen to me, and where I need to do emphasis, I will. I guess it is just something. Okay, let me close and start it again. Maybe that will help. Since my network is a little stable now. So just give me a minute. Hold on. Am I up? Is my slide up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it moving?
Yes, sir.
All right.
No,
Good.
it's not moving on my. It's not moving on my own end though. It's on.
That is group exercise now.
Yes. So I guess you should put it on slideshow.
It's on slideshow. It's on slideshow.
So I just continue.
It's on slideshow. Okay, so maybe it is the slideshow that's affecting. Let me take it out of slideshow. Can you see? Is it
Yeah.
moving?
Yes, it's
It's
moving.
moving. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
let me take it out of slideshow. Maybe the slideshow that's affecting it. Right. Okay, so we've talked about all of this. There's no time for we've talked the difference between managing, leading, differences, and all of that. There's so manage talk so much resources, position, and all of that. That's really what makes the difference. For the leader, there may not necessarily be a position, there may not necessarily be a resource, and all of that, and all of those differences, right? Um, So it's very major. The leader must adapt his behavior based on the follower and the task. We talk about the followers, the readiness level of the follower, and the task that is at hand, what needs to be delivered. Now, when we talk about task, one way explanation of the execution of a task is what, when, where, and how the tasks have to be delivered. And the leader is now swinging in terms of that's what we saw earlier, the relationship, the behavior, the tasks that need to be delivered. We mentioned earlier in terms of the urgency, the importance, like Femi mentioned earlier. So you have an associate and you know what he can deliver. You work with him, you can delegate. In fact, you have gone on assignments before on vacation and the person has relieved you. However, there's a management report that is urgent that needs to be delivered tomorrow morning. Your organization is going to pitch for a new account. Will you delegate that task to me if I have not done that type of report before? The answer is no. You quickly switch from delegation to what? Directing. You sit with me at that point and say, this is what needs to be done. Does that mean you did not respect my competence or my capacity? No. But because at that point it has become a priority, you don't have time for me to do the report and you now correct and we now look at it and no, it has to be delivered tomorrow morning. You quickly switch. Gentlemen, that is just what drives effectiveness. That understanding of the task, that understanding of what needs to be fulfilled, and managing the relationship appropriately. Very, very important. Right. So when we talk about the leadership style, there are four styles that we will quickly look at where the leader can swing. Style one is telling, from what we have seen earlier. Clearly, this is what needs to be done. You are giving direction, and I've given examples, loads of examples on why you can use that style. Something has changed, something is urgent, something is important, and all of that. It is high directive, low supportive. We'll see some of those definitions further. Style two, you are selling high directive, high supportive, and that's the coach. We've seen the coaches on the sidelines for some of us who love or we watch soccer. For the 90 minutes, what is the coach doing on the sideline? He's standing on his feet, he's giving his pointing hands, he's directing, supporting his as much as possible. That's the style, the coaching style at that point. Style three, high supportive, low directive. You are supporting the person. You are giving him, but maybe you now go and take a seat, but you are giving the person the important messaging, the important tools, the resource, and all of that. And of course, style four, which is delegation, is more of observing. low supportive, low directive. You want the person to use their initiative. You want the person to use the initiative. Why do we use delegation? Or let me rephrase the question. Why is delegation important for a leader? Quickly, why do we think delegation is important? It's an important style for the leader. Why
To
is it
shoulder a
important?
responsibility.
To shoulder,
A responsibility.
okay, that's as the leader, to shoulder a responsibility as the leader or for the associate. I, let me
To
understand what
shoulder
you
a
mean.
responsibility as a leader.
Okay, so you must use delegation. Okay, I hear you. Namdi, why is delegation important
Well,
for the leader?
of mind. First of all, it's
And
supposed to
Namdi, your line is breaking. I thought it was my line before, but I'm struggling to hear you because I'm hearing Femi very clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, better. Yeah.
So, top of mind, why do you delegate?
Mm,
First of all, delegate in order to increase uh, efficiency,
mm-hmm,
getting things done in faster time, and it's
mm-hmm.
also an important way of assessing the
Is what? I missed that.
it's an important way of assessing the competence level of your team.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay, fantastic. So when you delegate, you give the person end to end. That's why it's saying low supportive and low directive. Because you have possibly, like mentioned earlier, you've tested the person before and all of that. And when you delegate end to end, you give the person, you don't give the person clue or you don't tell him this is. Sometimes people say they delegate. They say go and do this task, and they tell you okay. So what you do is you do number one, then you do number three. You have not delegated. When you delegate, you say go and deliver this volume, or go to the market and get this share or whatever. You delegate. Now, when you give the person the end to end, what you are doing is you are growing another leader. Delegation helps you to grow new leaders. And when you get to the point as a leader, when you are growing leaders, then you have now you have succeeded as a leader. If you are the only one that will lead or that can lead, yes, you may deliver value, you may deliver the numbers, you may deliver the result, but you are not successful. A leader is only successful when they have grown another leader, because that way you can now multiply. Just imagine when you have leaders all over. And the beautiful thing about it, why some people also don't want to delegate, is they are not comfortable growing other leaders because they feel when they grow other leaders, they will be sidelined or they will not have anything to do. But the reverse is the case. The more you grow more leaders, the more your capability and your skill and your competence and your value continues to rise. So delegation is very fantastic. You give that person whatever, the person learns from it. They may make mistakes. If there's room for it, allow it. But the reason why some people also don't delegate is they are too perfectionist. They don't want to create. But don't forget, you learn by making some mistakes, and that's why you are where you are today. So allow those room. I'm not saying wastages of resources, but allow some room, allow some headroom for others to grow. So by observing, you delegate and you allow people to see the task end to end, and they take learnings from it because they have done it. There's something we call tell, show, do. Tell, show, do. That's action learning. You tell me, you show me, I now do it. When you tell me I understand, or I hear rather. When you show me, I observe, I now see. But when I become hands-on, I now do it. I now understand the reason behind how it is done and all of that. And that's where learning is perfect. All right. So again, this is the leadership style in a 4-grid box. Style 1, style 2, style 3, style 4. And like I did mention again, you will be successful as a leader when you can juggle, when you can move from these different styles. You can switch from 1 to 3, you can switch from 3 to 2, you can move from 2 to 4 based on the task and the relationship that needs to be managed. All right. The readiness level of the follower. My slide is moving, I guess.
Yes, sir.
All right, fantastic. We're together now. So the readiness level of the follower is very important. Why is it important? Because it is when the style matches the readiness level that it becomes effective. If you switch your style as a leader from coaching to delegating, from directing to supporting, but your team member or your associate or your followers are not at that level, it will miss the essence. You will miss the essence. So you must also understand the readiness level of the follower. Where are they? And the two factors that are driving readiness level is ability and motivation. When you talk ability, what is the technical skill, or what is the technical level, what is the understanding of the associate concerning that particular task? And when you talk about the motivation, why will they do it? So the what and the why. Sometimes people have the what, they have the skill, but they will not. There's no motivation. And let me pause. If there's anybody who want to share an example, have you worked with somebody before? They know what to do. They have ability, but they will not carry out that task successfully because there's no motivation. Why do you think this happens? If you have experienced this, how did you manage the situation? You have a fantastic team member or associate or even colleague. You've been given an assignment and they know what to do. They know how to do it, but they will not do it, or they won't do it well because there's no motivation. Has anybody experienced that, or have you been in that space before? Why do you think motivation will be low? And how will you increase motivation if you find you go out on Monday and one of your associates, fantastic, he will deliver, she will deliver, but you just find out that day 1, day 2, day 3, the person is not moving. Why will that happen? And what can you do? Namdi, let's start with you quickly.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly now. Yeah.
When the person has the technical skills, but is not motivated, first and foremost, they don't see the reason why they should do what they should do. So as a leader, you identify that, you must give them the end picture and what the role they are supposed to play. That's why they are there as the bridge of that point.
Fantastic. You made that point. Vision. Can you hear me, Namdi?
Yes.
Fantastic. I love that point that you just brought out. So sometimes there's no motivation because the associate can't see anything. He's blind. And this happens every time. Recall what I said earlier. Even as a nation, you have come, you've shown manifesto, you say this, you say, but people can't see anything. They just say, we can't see anything that you are saying. And it happens at the place of work. There's no motivation. The guy can say, so as a leader at that point, the guy has the skill. We say it every day. Nigerians are hardworking, we are resilient, we are good people, we are whatever and all of that. But one fundamental thing that is missing as a people when you go deep is there's no vision. We can't see. We can't. So what is next? So where are we going? So there's no vision. Beautiful. And once there's no vision, there's nothing motivating you. There's nothing motivating the associate. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, and you have said it. What do you do as a leader? You show the person the big picture. The person will deliver. He knows what to do. Just show him the picture. This is where we are going. And remember what we said earlier, as the leader, you are leading from the front. You are showing the person, you are clearing the path. Let them do the work. Great. Femi.
Sir, my own is that
Why
even
will
though
an
the
associate not be motivated? Why? They're so number one, we talk about vision, maybe they can't see anything. So what other things do you think? Or you have you been in a situation where you know what to do, but you are not just motivated to do it? What are the reasons?
well, I can say probably lack of clarity.
Okay, lack of clarity, which is the vision. Yeah.
Yes, whereby sometimes if so, let me just set an example. If somebody is coming in and the person is just throwing
Mm-hmm.
into the middle of people, like, okay, this is how we do it, this is how you are going to get it. But
Right.
where the end goal is, you have not
Mm-hmm.
been declared to the person.
Okay.
So I think that can demoralize the person until you sit the person down and say, hey, if we achieve this,
Mm-hmm.
this is what we are going to get.
Right.
So to boil down to our our target this year,
Mm-hmm.
whereby we set a goal that, okay, this is the goal that we want to hit.
All right.
And if we hit this goal, this is what we are going to get.
Right.
So that gives us the ability to push more
You
and
have
be like,
made the point. You have made the point I want to hear. What is in it for me? Every day we come, we say Nigeria will be great. What is in it in that greatness? How do I see what is my share? What is, and when I say share now, how would that greatness interpret? And I'm looking at it broadly. So you come, you are the sales manager, you have a team, you've recruited, you've done training, but people are not seeing what is next. Nnamdi is not seeing in the next 2 years what is going to look like. Or how will this may not necessarily be that he will become the general manager, but how will this role, how will all of this translate to his own vision as a professional? Femi is fantastic. He knows the tool, he knows, but he's not really seeing at the end of the year what this result will mean for the organization and how does that now interpret to his own even career growth to say, okay, I have delivered. So most times as the leader, and that's why I say the leader may not have money, may not have budget, and that's why we say leaders tell stories. Good leader, fantastic leaders, they paint pictures. They tell stories of how beautiful the goal, the vision can look like, and where do you fit within this vision. So ability, motivation, very critical in terms of readiness. When you match this with what we have seen earlier in terms of the style, everybody within your team begins to fly. and you deliver results. So quickly, let's look at what is all this ability. So knowledge, experience, role responsibility, where we talk about clarity. Sometimes there's no clarity. We need to do this, but there's no clarity, there's no definition of how it needs to be done and all of that, and understanding. And that's why the role of the leader is to continue to talk, is to continue to talk, is to continue to show, is to continue to sell. Very, very important. So ability is a function of knowledge. And when you find out the person does not have those skills and all of that, you put them on share experience, they grow in experience, and they have clarity of responsibility. Motivation. What is the motivation? What is the incentive? What is the confidence that you want to build for that person? What is the success, the look of success? And how do you get that person to that willingness level? And willingness could be a function of so many things. Maybe the person has tried before, didn't do well. How do you get to the person to that level where they want to try again? Maybe the person has succeeded and there's now a new target. How do you encourage them to say, guys, we did this? Can we take it to this next level? How do you build confidence? We have failed, or we have not hit target in the month of September, but October is on us. How do you build the confidence of the team? Because they've done everything, they have the skill, they have pushed, but they didn't. How do you, the leader, motivate them to say, let's go and try again? Gentlemen, that's the entire work of the leader. You are looking at all of this and you are just matching your style. You are matching those styles to meet that. And the person that is not demotivated, you are looking at, so what is the incentive? What is the look of success that I need to paint for him or her to see? How do I create that willingness? How do I build the confidence of somebody who has failed before, who has not achieved? That's your work. That's your responsibility. And you are using the style that matches this. So delegate this responsibility to this person, coach this person, support this person, follow this one to trade. This one needs hand holding, work with him for 1 week. That's your work as a leader. And the team begins to deliver. So readiness level 1, readiness level 2, 3, and 4. Those are the definitions. Let's just look at them in the boxes. So at readiness level 1, there's low ability and low motivation. The person doesn't know how to do it very well, and of course, the motivation is not there. Like I said, the person is new. Readiness level 2, the person does not know how to do it, but at least the motivation is high, beginning to show interest. Readiness level 3, high ability but low motivation. What do you want to do? You want to boost the confidence of that person, like I've said. The person knows how to sell. He has delivered goals before, he has achieved target before. But something has changed in the market. The structure of the market has changed. And somebody who is a flyer now becomes, maybe his territory is affected, and the person now who was used to be number 1 or number 2 suddenly finds himself as number 10 and is demotivated. Is it that he does not know how to sell? No. His motivation is low. How do you build his confidence level back? So you manage that person by matching the right leadership style. And R4, everything is fine. High ability, high motivation. Let me use the example of driving. The day you want to start driving, you're on R1, low ability, low motivation. Maybe it's somebody that just asked you, okay, you need to, or you just felt, okay, I need to go and start driving, but you don't even know how to. So motivation low, ability low. Desire is high now. Why is desire high? You don't know how to drive, but you are paid for driving school. or your uncle or your friend who wants to teach you has only 2 weeks, and he's saying for those 2 weeks we only do 1 hour, so there's a timeline. Or you have bought your car, let's even use that, a very fantastic example. You bought the car, but the car is sitting in your compound, you don't know how to drive it, ability low, but what motivation is high. Then you take the car out. Unfortunately, the very first day you take the car to your street, you scratch the car on the gate of the fence of your street, and there's a dent on the car. What will happen? The confidence will just drop. In fact, the following day you will say maybe you don't want to go out. So continues to move like that, and the leader is matching the level. And now situation leadership is just saying, how do you now understand the level where the associate or where the follower is, and you match the person. So the probability of effectively influencing others is the highest when the leadership style of the leader matches the readiness level of the follower. Let's quickly look at this as we begin to round up. So within this grid box, we pull all of that together, from readiness level to the leadership style. And we say style 1, which is about directing. The task is high, it is important. So it's not about relationship here. It's about what needs to be done. It's about what needs to be done, what result needs to be achieved. Today is the 10th day or the 11th day of the month, and we are still at 10% of target for the month. There's fire on the mountain. Even if Femi is my cousin or my brother, I will leave that relationship. Relationship at that point will be low because there is fire. That's why that is red. So on Monday, the conversation I'm having with Femi is we need to deliver this volume. We must sell 50 units of this machine for this week. Do you understand? Is there 50 units? How many units do we have in the store? Okay, we have 60. What do you need? This is the whatever. Clear task, low relationship. Second level, high task, high relationship. Coaching. Tell me, do you understand? Okay, so now tell me what you plan to do. I will not plan for you. So for day 1, I plan to do this. I'll sit close to you, make relationship high at that point. And I'm telling you, you know you have done it before. You did this 2 months ago. So what did you do and all of that? High task, high relationship. From there, we move to style 3, supporting. High relationship, low task. So you started doing it. Of course, we have talked about the readiness level before in terms of the capacity or the ability, rather, in terms of the skill and all of that. So you know what to do. It's not about the task. It's more around encouragement, mentoring. Okay, so why is the customer not buying? It's not because you don't know the product. So you are telling me, oh, the customer has a challenge with the bank, and the bank says this, and in 2 weeks there, and we are now looking at, okay, so what are the options? We cannot wait for those 2 weeks. How can we support? What are we doing? We are looking at support at that point. And of course, you move to the point of S4, which is delegating, which is just telling the person, go and deliver and all of that. And like we say, it continues to move. So the readiness level of the follower can also swing. Somebody who is on R4, for whatever reason, can just move to R2. or can even move to R1, like the examples we gave earlier. Maybe something happened. Maybe there's a new task. The person will move. As a leader too, you have been managing at S4. You know the person can deliver, but something has changed. You also move, as the case may be. Very important. As we begin to round up and wind down, where there's a mismatch, the leader cannot be effective. When there's a mismatch between readiness level and the style of the leadership, and that's one thing that happens every day. There's a mismatch. It's a mismatch. And this mismatch can cause unease, it can cause annoyance, it can even cause frustration. When somebody who is new doesn't know, and suddenly you are delegating or you are moving straight to the point of just demanding for results, you make that person uneasy because the person is just undergoing some learning curve in that particular area. It can cause annoyance. The person knows what to do, he knows how to do it, but yet you are still micromanaging. And the reason why you see why people just have an outburst one day is they have now moved to the extreme. Somebody who knows what to do, who has done it before, who is motivated, and you as the manager, you are now giving the person, taking the person on baby steps and whatever. The person will just flare up one day. And that's why you see this blowout here. So when at S1, you use readiness level 4, you will cause frustration for the person. If you use readiness level 3, you will cause annoyance. If you use readiness level 2, you will cause unease. But when you match it with readiness level 1, you get results. Right? This is what it's supposed to be. You must continually be looking at the readiness level and you are matching it and you are moving on and you are moving on. How does this work? Analyzing, flexibility, and that's why I say no one size is the best. No one size. Situational leadership says no one style of leadership is the best. The best leadership style is when the leader meets the follower at the point of their need. That is the best. Adaptation, you continue to adjust. That's your responsibility as a leader. Today you are telling story, tomorrow you are motivating, next tomorrow you are coaching, and all of that. That's what makes you a successful and a fantastic leader. Okay. The two main objectives of applying situational leadership is what? To develop people, to grow people. The responsibility of the leader is to grow others, is to create new leaders. It's not for you to continue to be the leader in perpetuity. You must have that goal to grow other leaders and to motivate others to perform. The reason why you are given leadership responsibility is to paint the vision, is to make people see the vision, is to make people run with the vision. To make people run with the vision so that even when you are not there, everybody is marching in the same direction. So managers should actively involve their people in goal setting. That's part of where it starts from. Don't just set the goal and go and give them and say, go and bring them in. You know where you are going, but sit with them and say, this is what we want to achieve. So contributions, they tell you their mind and all of that. At the end of the day, you aggregate that together and you say, okay, guys, this is what we have collectively said. This is how we are going. And as you are going on that journey, you are motivating, you are checking what I call the pulse of the people. Are we running too fast? Is everybody on board? Do you need some water? Do you need some rest? How can I support you? How can I assist you? And one of the things that makes you do that effectively is, as a leader, you must listen. As a leader, you are doing less talking. Time when you are talking is when you are creating the vision. When you have created the vision, you let people to now do their interpretation, to talk back to you, to say, this is how I see it. And you have conversations. So you are motivating people by listening to them, by having feedback, by listening to them and giving them support. Tell Shodu, I said this earlier, tell me I forget, show me I remember, get me involved. I understand the why and why we are doing what we need to do. So, in conclusion, we talked about motivation earlier, or motivators. What are some of the things that can motivate people in the place of work? Good salary, job security, personal growth, good working condition, interesting work, management loyalty to its employees, tactfulness and disciplined behavior within the team, recognition and accomplishment, understanding of personal problems and sense of belonging, and so many, many more. So, in conclusion, if you look at these items, numbers 1 to 3, can you choose number 1, 2, 3 for you? Where are you today as a motivation? What are the top 3 things that will motivate you to deliver value, to be the best, to grow within your organization, and to achieve your, if you look at these 10 items, what are the top 3 for you as an individual? Femi, you want to go first?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, number 1 is good salary.
Okay.
Number 2 is personal growth.
Okay.
Number 3, recognition of accomplishment.
Cognition of accomplishment. Okay, so that's number 1, number 3, number 8. Beautiful. Right. Namdi.
Well, in my case, the first shall be the last. So my number 1 will be number 10. Sense of
Sense
belonging.
of belonging in the team. Okay.
And the number
Right.
2 will still be number 2. Job
Okay.
security.
Job security. Okay. Then
And the
number 3.
number 3 will be number 1. Good
Number 1,
salary.
good salary. Fantastic. Now, just see between just 2 of us on this call now, or 2 of you in this call, look at the difference now. If me as the leader, I'm just fixated on saying this is how we have listed it, and I continue to look at number 1, number 2, number 3 for Namdi, number 1, number 2, number 3 for Femi, number 1, number 2, number 3 for that. But what will happen at the end of the day? I will not have a motivated team, even if they have the best skills. And gentlemen, that's why skills is not enough, like we say. Competencies is not enough. Most times it is that social, is that people factor. How do you understand your people? How do you tilt to them? How do you make them? How do you understand their specific needs at that particular point in time? And as a leader, how do you do your best to now meet those needs? And if you do that, you are on your way to becoming the best leader that you can do. So take home questions for this module will be posted. I don't know if Raf is still here, but I'm sure after this call, he will reach out, and maybe if we have the opportunity, we will have some time to do a 5-10 minutes recap on them. But before I let you go, any specific question? How has it been? Is there any light bulb moment? What has shifted in 1 minute? Have you gained anything different? What will you do differently? So I want to hear in 1 minute before I allow you go. Namdi, I start with you.
Okay. Of course, the bulb is on. The light bulb is on because from the very first statement made, that is all about understanding the readiness of your team. That's what situational leadership is all about.
All right.
And it's not cast in stone. As a leader, you must be able to understand that what works for this person might not work for this person. And under different circumstances, the same people might present with different challenges again.
Absolutely.
So you must be able to relate the changing circumstance to what the style of leadership you have to employ, from being directing to the other end where you are delegating. So I think it has helped by shifting. We must first and foremost interpret the situation, look at the circumstance, what is affecting, what is predisposing, what are the things militating against or assisting. And then based on all those external parameters and internal parameters, you can now really marry it to the leadership style you adopt at that particular moment.
Yeah.
So that's basically my takeaway from this
of it.
yeah,
Beautiful.
situational leadership. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Namdi. Femi, closing.
All right, sir. Let me first of all thanks before I give my own remark. Thanks so much for the class. Very interesting. I think this is one of the best class so far. My own take home is that just as I stated in the beginning, that I want to know more to shape the idea and to reconstruct some ideology in my head about the duty of a leadership, and so far I'll be able to gain the responsibility on me and the part of the management as well, how I should support the management, as to take care of people under me, as to be able to understand each and every people under me, their capacity, their level of understanding, and their contribution, how my own personal self can help the team to move forward or the organization to achieve their goal.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, great. And I must say a very, very big thank you too. I always love an active and participatory class. Like I said, when you share your experience and we all learn together. So thank you for sharing your experiences. Thank you for talking back to me. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for making contributions. That has made it what it is today. So I would say go out there, be the best leader that you can be. There's no destination. There's no arriving with leaders. That's what I will leave you with. You continue. It's a journey that never ends. You continue to refine. You continue to get better. And as you continue to get better, you are elevating others. So go and win and be the best. Thank you so much. Have a very, very lovely evening. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
very
so
much, sir.
much. Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.
All right, Ralph. Thank you. Bye.